AITA for laughing at my coworker's confession to me. So, some background. I, 21 female, have been working with my coworker, we'll call him Steve, 20 male, for about a year now. Has always been a quirky, kind guy and we get along great. I'd consider him a friend, but this recent situation has kind of ended things. So me and him were both closing. It was just the two of us in the back office, where I count draw. Suddenly, he gets very serious and says he needs to be honest with me. I say okay. He says he loves me and has for months now and really wanted me to feel the same. I apologize and mention I already have a boyfriend and I felt very bad because he is a great person. He accepts this, but then asks if he could at least feel my chest. I reply asking for clarification and he says my body is just so wonderful and if he can't be with me, he at least wants to touch me once. I then burst into laughter, asking if has serious or has the whole thing been a prank. That's when he just grabs his coat and heads out the door, and he hasn't even shown up for work since. So, alright EA, or is that a reasonable reaction to what happened? NTA. Him asking to feel your chest after you said you were in a relationship is incredibly inappropriate. Have you talked to HR? This is my first job, so I'm not sure about how to go to HR, if it even exists for me. I work at a mall location and the place is owned by a franchise owner, but I've been considering going to my boss, and after some of these comments I think I will. You 100% need to, if you're comfortable with it. Assuming he hasn't been fired for missing shifts, it's especially creepy that he waited until the two of you were alone at closing time, so I imagine not many customers either, to sexually mistreat you. It needs to not happen to anyone else, but the boss can't handle it if they don't know about it. I agree OP should get in contact with both the direct boss and HR, because the fact he asked something as strange as can I at least touch you once does not paint him as well balanced. But it's absolutely not creepy that someone would wait until they are in private before confessing how they feel to someone. That's a stupid comment. Feeling embarrassed is a perfectly normal thing. It's pretty standard advice for anyone, but especially for men who are attracted to women, to have conversations like these in at least semi-public places such as restaurants, or at a distance, like through phone calls or texts, so that the person on the receiving end doesn't feel pressured or scared. If I were the OP, and that man gave off any type of creepy vibe, which he did when he inappropriately requested to touch her and then stormed away when she declined, I would have been terrified, because you never know what someone is going to do in a situation like that with no witnesses and, potentially, nowhere to run. Also, another layer of creepy was already present due to the fact that he claims to love her and yet doesn't even know that she has a boyfriend. Who's to say he didn't know she had a boyfriend? If he's been in love with her for months, I'm sure that he would have come up in conversation at some point. It's only natural that you occasionally mention your significant other at work, whether it's talking about weekend plans, telling a funny story, etc. He just didn't care that she had a boyfriend enough to respect their relationship and keep a distance. He probably was hoping for one of those stupid Hallmark moments where he confesses his feelings she realized she loved him all along. Boyfriend be damned. That makes him the turbo creep AH. Asking period isn't appropriate whether she's single, married, in an open relationship, or sleeping around with every guy she meets. Relationship status doesn't make it any less wrong of what he asked her, but I agree with you about talking to HR. Thank you. If she were single and not interested in him, this would still be inappropriate. Who goes around asking to feel women's chests? Is he 12? If she were single and interested in him, it would still be inappropriate to ask at work. NTA. Confessing his feelings is one thing, but asking to feel you crosses the line. On some level he's probably aware of this, and that asking to feel your chest while at work is sexual mistreatment, which is why he hasn't been back to work since. You should probably tell your boss this. OP it could get worse if he returns. Yes, this. Protect yourself. NTA. He went from nice guy to creepy guy when he asked to feel your chest, especially if the two of you were alone in the building. I think laughing was probably the best way of diffusing the situation. It's a shame though, if you were friends before this. I don't know about that. A lot of men get very angry about being laughed at and respond with physical cruelty. Yep, it's unfortunately risky to respond with laughter. From Margaret Atwood, why do men feel threatened by women? I asked a male friend of mine. They are afraid women will laugh at them, he said, undercut their worldview. Then I asked some women students, why do women feel threatened by men? They are afraid of being slayed, they said. NTA, that's a weird request, dude. It's fucking disgusting, is what it is. NTA, you didn't laugh at his confession. You laughed at his sexual mistreatment. He hasn't shown up to work since cause he knows he ducked up. NTA, people who've never been in a long-term relationship can get very weird things in their head. This guy has had an entire mental relationship with you for a while now. Your imagined self has lived through trials and tribulations, good times and bad. Every time he sees you, that ideal version of you is muddied and warped. It creates an irritation that makes reality seem inappropriate. To fix that, the brain comes up with fixes that are as absurd as the situation. I just need to smell your feet. I just need to feel your chest, the part closest to your heart. I just need to lock you in a cabin until your stupid brain realizes that your soul loves me. You know, stuff. Laughing doesn't make you an AH. You got third wheeled into a very intimate conversation between the imagined you who has been on 50 first dates with this guy and this guy. How are you supposed to take that seriously? This is probably the most accurate answer. This guy is so mentally messed up at the moment that it didn't even occur to him that asking was inappropriate, because it didn't even occur to him that she is an actual person outside of his own fantasy version of her. Like in his twisted world, it totally makes sense that she would let him do this. As if in his mind she would feel touched by his request, her eyes would shine, and she would step closer while whispering, of course, senpai, lol. But why the duck would an actual real, uninterested, mind you, human with their own life and desires ever want to be a part of this situation? He needs mental help. This whole comment gave me some Lawbreaker Minds vibes, and I can say I'm not digging it, but it makes complete sense. It's the sorta creepy crawly under your skin, hair on the back of your neck standing up vibe. Bit of an update here. I texted my boss last night, letting him know that Steve did this. He said he's glad I'll let him know, and he'll be speaking to him immediately about what happened. I also told my manager, less professionally than I told my boss, as she and I are sorta close friends, and she was already planning to fire him for missing some shifts without explanation, so this didn't help. Also wanted to clarify some more things. I know it might seem like, oh of course you're NTA, but I didn't really click with just how bad it actually was until I posted here. It just seemed like I hurt his feelings a lot, and I really didn't wanna be the reason he'd quit or anything. He really showed no warning signs at all. My boss is very hands-on, like has always at our store, and takes care of us, so I have no doubt he'll handle things. But if things still look pretty bad, I'll go to HR. Steve should've known already that I had a boyfriend, but me and him being my BF, have been so busy among other things that I haven't been speaking about him much lately at work, so I figured he either might have forgotten or thought we broke up. Thanks everyone for helping me out. There's so many comments and it's hard for me to type on mobile, so I can't reply to you all, but thank you. I'll do my best to be safe, just in case he comes back. Worldwide comments of the day. She knew he cheated, she took him back, and she should have gotten over him if she wasn't over it. Never get back with a cheater. I don't think they can have a regular relationship again. There's no point. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Kinda replies here. She is willing to resume/restart a relationship with him, so for her to be with him means she has to believe he won't cheat again. She's doing nothing to help herself. It sounds like she's checking way too much. In reference to the first sentence, it sounds like she is scared of being fooled again, this proving she should have known better. At this point, if he didn't really change, she's gonna push to do it again. If she's doing all of this as a test, she deserves a broken heart. She shouldn't have taken him back. He messed up, but she took him back for better or worse. Yes, he should earn back her trust, but the post makes it clear he will never be able to do that if a year went by with no improvement. Living by being monitored like this isn't a healthy relationship or one working towards being healthy again. People commenting he's just a cheater and should put up with whatever she wants, don't want to help him or even her, but just want to punish him, and that folks isn't how our relationships work. You either dump the cheater or try to work it out. You don't stay together if you can't move past the cheating, which she can't as she keeps bringing it up and checking on him. The one comment about the indefinite open phone policy is stupid. It doesn't solve OP's problem or the girl's trust issues. If it wasn't clear, doing all that doesn't even make her feel better. It just makes her think he's not as easy to catch as before. What a shallow comment. To think allowing such a deal would make taking back a cheater possible. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and relatable Reddit videos.